Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stephen Canthan. I'm the CEO of transport companies and taxi companies, Chauffeur Live Pty Ltd. We are an Australian company. And my partner here is Chief Technical Officer, Bobby. We want to introduce to you today development of our TaxiCash ICO. So let me just say why it's called TaxiCash and Transport Cash. Both are same. Taxis and limousines are part of the wider transport system. So we're starting off with the taxis because that's the low-hanging fruit that is there to be picked and to make a use case and an absolute case for economic development. On balance, basically, TaxiCash is going to be a token that's going to be used in the travel industry for buying taxi rides, for buying any type of transport rides that we can think of. TaxiCash is a company that is established here in Australia with Chauffeur Live, and our website, by the way, is www.taxicash.io, and we have a support email, support@taxicash.io. At the moment, the website is up and running. You guys can download the white paper from that. So this presentation is a very shortened version of that white paper. White paper is quite elaborate, but it's been written in simple language so that anyone and everyone can understand. So the beauty in TaxiCash, as we have conceived it now, is that it's applicable to all type of cars and transport. And in addition, we have developed a technology that can be used for driverless cars, which are coming up in about another 3-4 years' time here. So it is going to be integrating with the GPS system into our blockchain technology system to bring you a token that can be used anywhere, even without your interference, into an automatic wallet system. So at the moment, TaxiCash technology has been patented in IP Australia. There's a lot of nitty-gritty technical sides to this particular aspect of it. So the patent that's been built into the technology itself is being covered by IP Australia. The patent is pending, and the first step in getting a patent approved is to get through the initial phase of acceptance to be checked, and we have passed that stage. So it will take another 6 to 8 months or a year before that will happen. So the question is, I think there was some very interesting discussion that went on about the legal aspects of ICOs. I'll come to that in relation to this ICO because we were really worried about the ICO status and the aspect of this ICO in relation to the regulations, the ATSIC regulations, as well as the KYC, AML regulations as a financial service provider. And in addition, the discussion that was on about SEC is another area that I'll touch upon, how this ICO is structured. So what is the issue that we have with the travel industry? The issue with the travel industry is fundamentally the charge that is being applied to the consumers as well as the service providers by the banks and the credit card organizations. You would see the actual cost that is being imposed on us is of the order of 13 to 15%. So if there is no credit cards, if there is no banks in the middle, that is the cost savings that will be coming on to us. How do we know this? Because we are in the industry, we day in and day out, we provide rides and we charge our customers. So we know what the cost is. So for a long time, for about 2 years, 2.5 years, we have been established for 5. We've been running our operations for 2 years continuously. We have always been trying to reduce the cost to the industry. The biggest issue with the industry cost is that a lot of people actually are not aware of the costs that are being imposed on riders and on the service providers. So, in essence, when we think of the banks that are in the middle that is charging, they easily charge 5%. As you guys know that if you take a taxi ride and you pay by credit card, you get charged 5%. That's pretty standard. That's not only in fact, in Singapore, it's 7.5%, and every other country, it's very high. Australia brought down the regulation from 10% to 5% only like 6 months ago. So, and then as a service provider, we are service providers in Chauffeur Life. We provide services here in Australia, New Zealand, and in London. So our service, again, we get charged by the Australian bank for the facility to provide service credit cards is about 5%. Then on top of that, we also get charged for all the equipment we use, which is about 2% on top. Then we get charged for using the portal. Now, when you borrow from someone, or when you pay by credit card, there are a lot of things that happen on the background. One of the most important things is it has to go through a portal into the credit card system and come back through the portal. And that's another 2% charge. Then on top of all this, there is a 10% impost on all the operators like ours for fraudulent use of credit cards. So what we call chargebacks. I'm sure people who run a business will know what a chargeback is when you run a credit card system. So that is, all the banks will wash their hands away. Moment there is a fraud, banks always say we take care of it. They never take care of anything. We as operators have to eat the cost. So if someone provides us with a faulty or a stolen credit card and that gets processed, and when it comes back final charge, you look at your statement and you say, I never used this card. You will go to the bank and you will tell the bank, guys, give me the money back, I never used it. So who bears the cost of it? Bank never bears even a single cent. We bear the cost. So all this impost of all the cost is very significant in the transport industry. More so in taxi industry as well. So there is about 13 to 15% of overcharging happening in this industry. We want to get rid of it. So when Uber ride-sharing cars came, a lot of our market share vanished. Why? Because we are expensive. So we were thinking, how do we fight this? Here is one area we can see 13 to 15% of the cost can be taken off from the system if we use a peer-to-peer decentralized blockchain solution. So that is the use case that we are bringing forward in this ICO. This ICO is all about reducing the cost and providing the facilities to the riders to use our mobile app, which will be using the taxi cash as a token that is to be purchased and used. One of the important aspects of the whole thing is just to give you guys on my discussion, here are the components of various things that we get charged with. This is our day-to-day life. This is our own experience in relation to what is happening in this industry. So what we did was we went about and we created a solution for this problem, and we patented the solution. And when we were doing that, then we realized that we have to allow for driverless cars, which is coming in 3-4 years. How do you interact with driverless cars? How do you charge? When the driverless taxis come, how do you charge someone? So that is an amalgamation of the GPS technology with the blockchain technology. That also is subject to a patent that's being processed right at the moment. So when we say we're going to save 15%, then you can ask the question, so what? What is in it for anyone? So you need to understand what is the world market, what is the market capitalization of this business. Taxi, limousine, hire car business, the total market turnover is about 130 billion all over the world. It's not Australia. Australia is only about 5 to 6 billion. So if we just look at it that way, and we say that we can use taxi cash only for 50% of the time, so we're talking about a 65 billion industry to which you can use this coin. Obviously, we have to do the marketing. There's a lot of things that we have to do, but notwithstanding that, that's what the price is. So $65 billion worth of market, and this is just the start. Transport industry has a lot more facets to this. This is only on the sections that we talk about as taxis, hire cars, and limousines, and type of cars of that nature. How much can we save? We can save 15% of that $65 billion is about $10 billion. That is the price of what we are going to save. So what we are going to do is develop a token that will address these issues. Now, there are specifics associated with travel industry tokens. You can ask the question, why don't you use Bitcoin? Why do you have to have another coin? So there are some very specific needs in this industry. When you get off the taxi, your transaction has to be finished. That means your transaction has only got a time for less than a minute. So anything that we do on blockchain has to be able to achieve that anywhere. So that's a task in itself. Other thing is, when we are talking about buying tokens and using them, we're talking about saving 15%. We can't go and charge the customers 10% charge. It's meaningless. So it needs to be very small as well. 1-2% charges have to be the norm. So these are specifics that will be built, and we will start more and more once we get into the development phase. They will be working with us. Our developers are going to be Astar. We are going to be working closely with Astar to develop this particular token and the interfaces, the mobile interfaces. So having said that, we have got a patented technology, and I have very rarely seen an ICO coming with a patented technology. So we will be the first. And for your information, we are the first in the world for having a technology that is going to be applied to driverless cars. We are absolutely the first. So when we spoke to IP Australia, the very first question that was asked is, wow, how did you come up with this? So they accepted our patent straight away, and that's being, obviously, it will go through a process of approval. So that's where we are with it. So let me just then quickly go on because apart from that, let me just move quickly, and I want to, and I'll just go to the ICO side of things. ICO is going to start on the 26th of February, and on the 26th of February will be the initial period for which there will be, that's a pre-sale period. And the number of tokens that are going to be available to the public is 80 million, and they are all going to be priced at $1 each. But the total that will be collected is going to be of the order of 30 million only, because there are heavy bonuses that are provided as we go along. So the first 2 weeks will have a 60% bonus, and then second 2 weeks will be 40, 30, 20, and 10. So by the time we finish, we are expecting to raise around 20 to 30 million bonus. And we, being a legitimate Australian company, we will be providing all the investors 5 modes of payment: Bitcoin, Ethereum, the credit cards. You can pay by credit cards. You can pay by direct transfer. We have, with National Australia Bank, we have got a direct account, and we can pay by cash as well, for which we will provide a receipt. Now let me quickly go one last thing about this particular ICO, and one that a lot of the people discussed here is about the legality of it. On the legal side of things, let me say we have got written legal advice, which every ICO has to have, from McCullough Robertson, which is one of the best lawyers in Australia on ICO space. The first legal advice is we don't belong to, we are not someone that is going to be giving out equity in our company, therefore we are not a security. Number 2, we are not subject to the KYC requirements because it's a utility token, and therefore you have the right to sell the token to anyone you like. Now we have got, so the structure of our ICO is I'm not saying too many things here, but the structure of the ICO is very different to what you would normally get from the other ICOs. We are very comfortable and confident that there will be no issues in relation to the legal side of things. But having said that, the law can change. So we are only talking in relation to what is there currently. And so when you subscribe to buy from us, there are 3 things that we'll ask: your name, email address, and the country in which you are going to invest from. Again, when we talked about the SEC, our ICOs cannot be subscribed by American entities or anyone from anything to do with US. Because if we are to get them subscribed, we have to submit to SECs, so which no one does. So that will be a complete exclusion. And fundamentally, having said all of that, our website is up and running, and the tokens and our roadmaps are available. By end of the ICO, we will have a prototype that will be available for everyone to use. So that will be prototype. It's a beta version. It will be a cut down version. By end of this year, we will have the full version running. So having said that, and the management team and our technical advisors would be Asta, and we are very happy to work with them. And finally, let me say thank you very much to all of you guys, and we are here to open for questions. And can I also thank Mr. Sam Lee, who has provided this opportunity for us to talk to you guys. And all we would say is please go into our website, www.taxicash.io. Download the white paper. It can be done on your mobile phone. It can be done on your laptop, desktop, whatever you want. And please register your interest. We have a register section, so you can go in there and register your interest. 26th of February is the ICO opening day. So we will keep in touch. All the social media channels are open now, and anyone and everyone can go in, ask any questions, including our Telegram channel as well. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Does everyone have any questions for them specifically? Yeah.
So you said that it's a token. Am I right presuming that that's based on the Ethereum blockchain?
Well, it's not necessarily on Ethereum blockchain. Why I did not specifically say that is we are looking at various options. As I said, one of the most important things is this has to be a very quick solution. Whether Ethereum blockchain would be able to achieve that is questionable.
Yeah, so I guess my question is, if you're going to go on top of another blockchain, you're going to have to sort of pay their fees as well. Why not create your independent blockchain?
No, look, that's a good question. But there are a lot, as I said, as far as the patent goes, there are some options we have put in there. So when we start to develop this, we will get to that stage. But it's a very good question. I take that on notice, and we'll look at it. No, because we looked at how much we need. I don't want to put 200 million, 300 million. It doesn't make sense.
But you think that the industry is worth
Yes, because what we want to do, yeah, sure. No, that's correct. What you said is absolutely right. Why we want is there has to be a limit to the coins, and people who buy from us also have to benefit out of it. So I don't want to say we want to put in 1 billion coins when we are trying to establish a $65 billion industry. So what will happen actually is when we list these coins at one time, which is end of the ICO, the price and the value of these coins will be very high. So we are only selling these coins at $1, and there's bonuses for early participants. As I said, you can please see our white paper, and in our website we provide all the information right up front. It's everyone's benefit. We actually, to be honest, we are not here for money grab. I will tell you openly. We are here to make a solution to the industry, a genuine problem. But we have a huge avenue to expand. Taxi is a small area of the transport sector.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any questions?